teenagers bomb Tokyo. Not for chaos, not for money, not for ideology. They do it to be heard. And by the time this story ends, you realize something uncomfortable. They were never meant to survive. Terror in Residence isn't a thriller about terrorism. It's a tragedy about what happens when intelligence replaces humanity. On the surface, this looks like a cat and mouse game. Cryptic riddles, explosions, police investigations. But the bombs are distractions. The real story began years earlier. The Athena Plan, a classified experiment designed to create artificially gifted children. Children selected, isolated, trained, not raised. Their intelligence was sharpened, their emotions were neglected. And when the project became inconvenient, it was erased. The children were disposable. That's the foundation of this story. Not terrorism, institutional failure. 9 and 12 are not natural prodigies. They are products. Every decision they make is shaped by an environment that treated them as data. No childhood, no normal relationships, no identity outside performance. And there's something even more tragic. The experiment had side effects. Their bodies were deteriorating. They didn't just lose their childhood, they lost their future. So when they bomb Tokyo, it isn't random violence, it's controlled exposure. They aren't trying to kill civilians, they're forcing the truth into the open. Because when you're invisible your entire life, being feared is still a form of being seen. The tragedy isn't that they became terrorists. The tragedy is that they never had the option to become anything else. Then there's 5. She isn't law enforcement. She isn't justice. She's another survivor of the same system. But unlike 9 and 12, she didn't reject it. She internalized it. Where they seek exposure, she seeks validation. Her rivalry with 9 isn't romantic, it's competitive. She doesn't want to stop him, she wants to defeat him, to prove she was superior, to prove she mattered. She turns airports into chessboards, she manipulates civilians, she escalates danger recklessly. Not because she believes in justice, but because the only language she understands is competition. When she loses control, when she realizes 9 won't validate her existence, she collapses. Her suicide isn't victory, it's emotional implosion. Another child engineered for brilliance, but never taught how to live. The most uncomfortable part of this story is the question of responsibility. Were 9 and 12 villains? Yes. They planted bombs, they disrupted lives, but they were also raised as weapons. When you train children to think like machines, you shouldn't be surprised when they respond without mercy. They didn't choose their intelligence. They didn't choose their isolation. They didn't choose their shortened lifespan. Their choice to become terrorists was shaped by a system that removed every other path. That doesn't excuse their actions, but it complicates them. And that complication is the point. Terror in Resonance doesn't offer moral simplicity, it offers discomfort. By the final episodes, there's no adrenaline left, no triumph, no redemption arc, just inevitability. Their plan succeeds in exposing the truth, but it changes nothing. The system remains, the public moves on, and the boys disappear. Not celebrated, not forgiven, just gone. The ending feels empty because it is empty. There's no victory in this story, only consequences and silence. Terror in Resonance was never asking whether terrorism is wrong. That answer is obvious. It asks something more unsettling. What kind of world creates children who believe destruction is their only voice? What kind of system values intelligence but neglects humanity? 9 and 12 weren't heroes. They weren't pure villains either. They were engineered. And when engineered tools realized they were tools, they either break or they burn. That's why this story lingers. Not because of the bombs, not because of the riddles, but because underneath it all, it was always a tragedy.